Hi, I'm Kimberly Vance. Who says crafting is a dying art? I'm finding crafters all over the Middle Tennessee area who make unique items that'll be passed down for generations to come. Welcome to HandMade Tennessee. Today our guest is Linda Bradford, who spins her own wool and also does tons of knitting. It's going to be great, and we are privileged today because she's going to give us a special knitting lesson. Welcome, Linda. Thank you so much for joining us today. Now, I'm very excited about this because, as we discussed, I like to crochet, but I don't know how to knit. What can you tell us about it? All kinds of great stuff?
Well, if you know how to crochet, you're going to pick up knitting just quickly.
Well,
Yeah.
what about the folks who don't do either one? Is knitting very easy to pick up?
It is, yes.
I've always heard that it was.
It is, yes. Do you want me to start showing you how?
I would love it. I would love it.
I love to show people how to knit. I never pass up the opportunity. I've got some things around here that I've knitted just so you can see what you can make, and we can talk about those and the type of yarn you use. But the very first thing you're going to knit with that, the first thing you're going to do is cast on.
Cast on. I've always heard of that, but I never knew what it was.
That means put your stitches on the needle.
Okay.
So
now, what kind of yarn will I be using?
what you have here, that's just some leftover line brand wool.
All right.
And what I have is some of my homespun. This is mohair. That was from we had a mohair goat, so that's mohair, and you've got wool, and so we're going to just start casting on.
All right.
The very first rule is no knots in knitting, but since I've told you the rule, go ahead and tie a knot right here.
So let me get this straight. No knots in knitting, tie a knot.
Once you get into it, you know, you're going to be tying, joining yarn, but to start out, go ahead and tie a knot because you don't want that first stitch, and don't tie it too tight.
All right.
Loose,
make a loose knot.
Yeah, because you're going to have to put that other needle in there with that.
All right.
So leave it loose.
Okay.
And yeah, let's see, you got to hold.
I told you I don't know anything. Do you believe
okay,
me?
we are starting from scratch here. Okay, hold that like that.
Okay.
That one right, just like that.
All right.
And then put this needle up through there.
I don't think I've got it right. There we are.
Yeah, put that needle up through your stitch.
Okay.
You got it through the loop?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now you're going to hold your yarn with this finger.
Okay.
I know if you crochet, you're used to keeping the tension on your yarn as you use it, so that's what you're doing with that finger.
All right, and the tension will determine whether it's a loose stitch or a tight stitch, and ultimately the size of the garment.
Right.
All right.
And what we're doing here, these are big needles. See, I have a 10.5, and I think yours must, no, you've got a 8.
An 8 and a 10.5. Now, in like crocheting, does that also determine the piece, the size of the piece?
You always match your needle to your yarn.
Okay.
And like a 7/8, that's like a medium-sized needle. And this one I have, it's a large one, and it will make a looser stitch than what yours will.
All right.
Yeah. So the first thing you're going to do now that you've got your needle pushed through your loop is just wrap it around.
Okay.
Yes, you've got the tension on it with this finger right here, and just wrap it around.
Wrap it around? Just the first needle?
Yeah, and take the point and bring it through like that.
Oh.
And then pull the loop out that you just made.
Okay.
And so somehow you've got 2 wraps on there. Let's just take one of them off there.
All right.
Pull that out. Okay, now pull that loop out big.
All right.
And I'm going to throw it, I'll get mine again, throw it back over this needle.
All right, mine just came undone.
You didn't tie your knot. Go ahead and tie a knot.
You scared me when you said don't tie a knot.
Well,
no, I'm teasing. I tied it and it untied.
Yeah, you need to, well, that is the rule, but yeah. Just go ahead because you're learning.
All right.
You don't want it coming undone on you. Okay, let's do it again. Up through there.
All right.
Wrap it around.
Okay.
Pull it through. No, I see, you're not exactly doing it right. Let's see. Well, you got a loop there.
All right.
Let's see. Like that. Pull it through. Wait, don't wrap it again. You've already got your loop.
All right.
Pull that loop up.
Okay.
Throw it over your needle, like that. See? No, wait a minute.
One more time.
Let me show you. Got it like this.
Mm-hmm.
Pull it through there. Well, wait a minute.
See, I've even gotten you confused on this.
There we go.
All
See
right.
there, you pull that through, pull that loop out,
Okay.
throw it up over there.
All right. Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And this is called casting on.
You're putting your stitches to start knitting. You're putting them on your needle. And there are different ways to cast on.
Mm-hmm.
And there are reasons why you would do it differently. But this is your basic, called a knitted cast on. And I use it almost all the time. See, you just pull that around, throw it over here, throw it over, and then you just do this until you get all the stitches that you want.
So until it's the desired length. All right.
You're going to cast on different number of stitches depending on what you're making. So you just keep doing that.
Wow.
So that's the casting on part. And once you get the hang of holding your needles and putting the tension on your yarn and just wrap around, pull it through, throw the loop over there.
Wow.
Then you'll be able to do that.
All right. Now, do you come up with your own patterns, or do you actually follow patterns that you find like in
Some of
books?
both.
Or?
I've got lots of books, and sometimes like this is a lace pattern, and I did follow a pattern for that.
Oh, that is gorgeous.
Sometimes simple things, once you know what you want to do, you just do it. You don't need a pattern.
That is beautiful.
And that is, I just finished that this weekend.
Oh, that's nice. And of course, it's perfect weather.
Yeah,
Wear it this
wool,
summer.
yeah.
Now, what type of yarn did you use on this one? This feels like kind of a thin.
It's wool, but it is a very thin weight wool.
Wow.
There are like 6 sizes of wool yarn, or any yarn, and it starts with fingering, which is what that is. It's very, very fine, and then it'll go all the way up to chunky. And I don't have anything chunky.
Might this be close?
That is bulky. It's right under the chunky. And your average that you're going to go buy off a shelf, it's worsted weight, and it's like in number 4 in there. So there's a sport weight, and then these are. I'm sorry, that's my homespun there, so it's a little heavier than worsted weight. I used the homespun to make this headband, and that's called a cable stitch that you put in the middle.
Oh, that is beautiful.
Yeah.
Look at that.
And let's see, this is the fingering. You can see how fine it is. This is the same weight that I did the vest from. You can see how that, and I've got a sock started there.
All right, now I'm detecting a loop that you've thrown for us this time. These are completely different needles than that.
That's double pointed needles, and that it is. It's that is to knit around. You're going to get a flat piece on this. That you go round and round, and you're not going to have a seam.
Wow.
And you really want to get the basics of holding 2 before you start.
So this would be a much more advanced stitch.
Well, a little bit more,
All
yeah,
right.
because you need to be.
Look at that.
You need to be
Isn't that
comfortable
something?
holding 2 before you start, and then actually you're doing 5 because you got your work on 4, and then you use that one to knit.
Oh, wow.
And this is a pair. See, these were made on the double pointed needles, and that's a pair of socks.
Those are so cute.
And just brought that as an example of the double, the knitting in the round. Yeah.
All right.
And, oh, you want to, let's see.
What have you got started there?
Yeah, I was going to let you knit on these, so you can actually learn the knit stitch here.
All right.
There you go. And I'll knit on this one, and you knit on that one.
Okay.
Okay, now it's the same thing, hold your, like this.
I failed to mention that I'm left-handed.
Oh, no.
So that probably is where I'm going to try and cover up my tracks here.
Yeah, that's a different story. Okay, I get it. All right. Well, I'm sure there are instructions in the book about how to knit left-handed. Okay, you put this up through there. Okay. It's just like you were casting on.
All right.
And you wrap the yarn around. But then you just slide the stitch off.
You're bringing that right under there, is that correct? Do you actually go through?
You go through the loop.
Okay.
Yeah, you got it there. Now
All
just
right.
slide this one off. Just go ahead and cut. See, you've knitted one stitch. It's like,
oh, neat.
See, you wrap it around, bring that through like that, and slide that off. And that is your basic knit stitch.
I know what I'm going to be doing this evening.
Yeah, I'm not sure how you would adjust it. Yeah. I'm going to
that's fine.
It's very soothing. I was reading an article just recently that said that knitting, when you knit, your brain creates the same chemicals as when you do yoga.
Wow.
And so it's very soothing and relaxing. Yeah.
And I would imagine, honestly, that you would get some toning benefit too, because you're working your
it exercises your brain because you're working out that pattern. Yeah.
And we all know that exercising the brain is a very important component as we get older.
It's good for you. Yeah.
Now, what could I make from that right there? Anything I wanted, because I've got the basic stitch.
Yeah, this is your basic stitch, and I'm going to turn it over. Now, a purl, you always hear knit purl. The purl is the back side of the knit. It's when you're knitting on one side, you've got a purl on the other. And so to keep this just your basic knitting like what you're seeing, you can go ahead and try the purl stitch. And on that, see, it's the same thing. You're holding your yarn, but see where we went this way? We're going to go this way to the front, wrap the yarn around, and put your loop to the back, and then slide it off, and you've made a purl stitch. And once you get, sit down with some yarn and get the hang of making the knit and purl stitches and keeping your tension the same all the time so that your stitches are always the same, then you're ready to start making things.
So when we read the pattern, I know that I have heard people before say, like, knit one, purl two.
Yeah.
So that would be like you do one to the front and then two to the back.
Yeah, like this right here.
Okay.
I've started this cuff. That is a knit two, purl two. So see, that's got two knit stitches, and then it's got two purl stitches, and then that makes the.
So that's what gives it the ribbing.
That's called ribbing. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Isn't that something?
So there's your basic stitches are your knit and the purl. And I'm going to show you how to do this scarf. It's very simple. There's no need to finish purling that. I've got this one started.
Oh, that is beautiful.
And I thought a scarf would be something, if you already know how to knit, that would be really easy to make. And it's good for someone who is just learning. I cast on, for this one, I cast on 23 stitches.
All right, and would that be the length this way? All right.
This. And knitted the first row just to give it an edge. And this is a simple pattern that you put on enough stitches that you knit the first and last stitch, and then the pattern is multiples of 3. So you can make it as wide as narrow. You could make a wide and make a shawl. So, you know, a lace shawl. So this one is.
Now, what do you mean by multiples of 3?
Okay, I'm going to show you.
All right.
All right, I'm going to knit this first one. And what I'm using here, it's, again, this is mohair. It's homespun. And then I'm just going to knit that one off. And then my pattern is knit one. And this is another stitch. It's called a yarn over. You just wrap that yarn around. And what you do when you do a yarn over, you are making this hole, but you're also adding a stitch. So the next thing you're going to do is knit two together, because you've got to take that extra stitch off. So you put your needle through two stitches and you knit two off. And so that's you're going to knit one, yarn over, knit two together.
Now you make this sound so simple.
Oh, it is. Once you once you start learning how to hold the needles and keep the tension the same on your yarn, you don't even think about it. You know, your hands just automatically.
Well, that's like we were talking. You can sit and watch television or whatever you'd like.
And socks are great because once you know how to do it on the double pointed needles, you carry them around with you. You never sit in a doctor's office or when you're getting your car serviced. You just have it in your pocket, and you never mind waiting because you've always got something to do.
That's wonderful. Plus, you come out with a great gift for someone.
Well, you can always have a use for a pair of socks. Somebody can.
How did you become interested in knitting? Is it just something you had always wanted to do?
I taught myself to knit when I was a teenager, and I don't remember why, because I didn't know anybody that knitted. I just wanted to learn, and I think I found books. And I just did the basic knit, purl, you know, basic things at that time. But then eventually, there was a really good knit shop in Tullahoma that just closed down a couple of weeks ago, and they would have classes. So I went down there and I took the classes in the double pointed, knitting in the round, and Fair Isle. I love to knit. This is called Fair Isle because you're knitting with different color yarns and making patterns as you go.
Fair Isle?
It's a Fair Isle pattern, and that's fun to do.
Is it challenging?
At the beginning,
depends on where you're coming from.
In the beginning, but then once you get the concept of it, you can do this and watch TV.
And now this actually feels like different yarns. So do you match different textures from time to time?
It's all the bulky weight yarn. This one is a little different because it's got that sparkle in it. So it's probably a different texture. This is, all the rest of this is craft yarn. See, it's kind of heavyweight. And you can see you're knitting with two different colors at one time. You are actually holding two in your hand, and then sometimes you'll knit with one and sometimes the other.
So do you drop a stitch and pick it back up, or do you
well, you're just carrying it along with you, and then you'll knit with this one, and you knit with, and it's fun to do. Yeah.
That is gorgeous. Yeah. And Christmas will be upon us before we know it.
Yeah, I just did that one just.
Now, does everybody you know have a stocking already?
Oh, kids. Yeah, the kids.
This is absolutely stunning. I love that. That is beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
And what a gorgeous stitch.
And that was very simple, and it's a good learner's project because you have something you can use when you get through it.
That's beautiful. Now, what are the other items that you brought for us to see today?
This is a knitted hat, and this is homespun. It's wool, and this is called rainbow dyeing, where I put the wool in the pot and then pour different colors over it, and so it just randomly came out the colors in it, and that was fun. And
now, what color does your wool? Is just the color of wool, the color of sheep, I imagine.
Yes, it's off-white, yeah.
Wow.
So most of the time I do dye it.
But now when we go to the store, we can buy a variety of colors.
Oh, yes, you
Any
can.
color we want.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you go into a yarn store and
feel like you dived onto heaven, don't you?
It's so tempting. Every direction you look. Yeah.
Now, we were talking too a little bit about the cost effectiveness. This is one of those hobbies that you really kind of have to love to do. It's not very expensive though, is it?
Oh, it's not expensive. But you don't think of the cost in terms of, well, I could go out and buy it cheaper, because you probably could. You know, by the time, depending on what you put into it, but you're really not going to save money, but you have something that you like and that you've enjoyed making.
Yes.
This bag, that's another thing that's fun to do. You can do with wool. It's felted. You know, if you put wool in the washing machine, what happens to it? Well, with this, you do it on purpose. You knit the bag, and it's huge, and then you throw it into the washing machine, and then see.
Now, would this also be called blocking?
No, blocking is after you want to wash anything that you've made. You know, when you get through with it, and then you lay it out like this. You would, I would have laid. When you get through, it's not the shape that you really want it to be in, where you worked on it. So you wash it, and then you lay it out flat, and it puts it into the shape it's supposed to be. You know, it dries.
Wow, and it retains its shape.
You're right. Yeah.
All right. Now, what about the felting?
Oh.
You were talking about you made it huge.
Well, the pattern, I did follow a pattern for that, and it's huge when you get through knitting, but then when you put it in the washing machine, of course, it shrinks it and it creates felt.
So how do you gauge how small or large you would want it to be? Is that usually in the pattern?
You can felt a hat, and you would want that to come out a certain size, and I would follow a pattern for that, because it will tell you how many stitches you're going to need, you know, to come out a certain size. But then when you put it in the washing machine, you're going to have to watch it, you know, take it out every so often and make sure it doesn't shrink farther than you want it to.
Oh, that's neat.
But usually, no matter how it comes out, somebody can use it, you know.
Yeah.
There's a person smaller than you if you can't wear it. I was going to show you how to take your stitches off once you get your project done.
All right.
Let's see. Either one of these would be okay.
Okay.
Where are we at in this one? I think you were purling on this one. I'll just go ahead and finish that.
All right.
You can see the difference in the knit stitch and the purl stitch, because see, that was knitting and we're purling on the same size. Now that's going to stand out on that size, because now you've got purl stitches on your knit side. So that just shows you the difference in the purl.
Now I notice that it does seem like you're ending up with quite a few stitches on your needle.
Depending on how many you cast on.
All right.
Yeah, you just, of course it's going to keep growing as long as you do that. Now we're going to take it off. And it's basically the same. Once you get whatever you've made, once you get this as long as you want, you need to take it off. So you just knit a stitch, or you could purl a stitch, knit another one, and then you take that one and put it over that one.
So you've kind of done the opposite on that. Okay.
And you slide that one over that one, and this is called binding off.
So you're actually getting them off of the needle. Wow.
Yeah, this is taking them off.
And closing it up. Now, is that putting a ridge? That'll also be a ridge.
Yeah, it'll have like a little knit ridge there. Yeah, if you can't just pull your needle out of it, because you're going to...
I assume it would unravel?
Yeah.
You would lose all your work.
Yeah, it would come undone, yeah. I see what you're reading. I think we got one extra stitch here somewhere.
I didn't have a thing in the world to do with that.
That's all right. We'll bind it off too.
All right.
Okay, and then when you get them all off, Just cut it, and then you bring your yarn back through that last stitch and tighten it. So, see, there's a little knitted swatch that we just did.
Oh, that is so cute.
Yeah.
It could be a little teeny tiny baby blanket for a little baby doll.
It could,
oh, that
yes.
is just a,
Yeah.
look at that. That is absolutely something else. Now, we were talking about, a little bit before the show about how we love making these items, and our family market, I guess you would say, has almost run out of people. So we're always looking for other people to make stuff and give stuff to. Now, I asked you about selling some stuff, and you said that you have actually, for I think the first time, put some stuff in one of the shops here in McMinnville, uptown, at etc.
Oh, yes.
And you have a display up there?
I have a few items. I haven't put a lot in there yet because almost everything I make is out of wool, and I didn't see that I needed to do that in the summer. I just made a few simple things just to put in there for the summer, and then I have more things made up that will be winter that I'll take up there later.
Oh, that's going to be good. That's going to be great. Now, have they approached you, or has anybody approached you about giving knitting lessons?
Karen did mention it. I don't know exactly what process she uses for setting up classes, but she did say that she would like to have some knitting and crochet classes.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So that would be great.
Yeah.
So you keep us posted on the potential classes there. That'll be wonderful. Well, Linda, thank you so much for coming. And there is hope for me yet. I'll get this.
Oh, yes, you will. Yes.
All right.
You need to get an instruction book that says this is how you do this left-handed.
For opposite. Here's a lefty book, right? Well, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we've had Linda Bradford in today, giving us a wonderful knitting lesson, showing us all these beautiful things. Thank you so very much for joining us today. My name is Kimberly Vance. Stay fabulous, and thank you so much for watching HandMade Tennessee. If you enjoyed today's show, check us out on Facebook for other shows and information at www.facebook.com/HandMadeTennessee. You can also email us your comments or suggestions to handmadetn@bltv.net.
Boldly go to socialsecurity.gov. Help yourself or someone you love.
It's eminently logical.